Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come on up now. Come on, stop me. You coming up.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Hop series. I'm April Anderson. I'm one of the hosts of the show, and it is Tuesday already. The weeks go by so fast, but I pray that you have had a fantastic day. It's been very productive. That it is has been great for you. My day has been very busy, of course. I'm waiting for my co-host Morgan Harvey to come in. She's in the process of moving, so she may be in and out. But I'm excited about today. Why? Because today is the first series of the He Said, She Said segment. And I want to give you a little history about how this got started. So we were having a board meeting, and this was definitely not in the plan, not in the conversation or anything. And then one of the board members said something about, yeah, you should do a He Said, She Said segment. And I was like, really? Absolutely. So we have decided to add that in. So one Tuesday per month. Hey, Jackie, thank you for coming on. So Mike, I see you're on here. I need you to try to get back in again. Just clear your browser and come back in. I can see you from my phone. So we decided to add that in. So one Tuesday out of the month, we are going to have a He Said, She Said segment. And get this, no topic is off limits. Now, one thing that we do, hey, Corey, one thing that we do is as women, sometimes we only see it from our perspective, but it's also great to see it from and hear it from a male's perspective as well. So, we're going to talk about an array of topics throughout our time together, not just today, but every month we'll have one day for that. We're still going to promote women entrepreneurs. We still are going to promote these phenomenal women that are doing great things in their community. We still want speakers. Well, I guess you would say speakers, but guests. We still want guests to come on and share what they're doing. Y'all, the lineup we have for June. We have movie writers. I cannot wait for you to talk with this lady. She is great. She's going to be on next Tuesday. And we have authors, and we have all communities represented, and I'm happy about that. This show has been doing well, but I need you to do something for me. Can you do me a favor? Can you please tag and share this? That's the only way that we're going to have other female entrepreneurs or other people to engage with us. I don't want it to be just myself and Morgan to be on here and talking and have different people. No, we want to spread this out, because what I have noticed from January up until now, I don't know about anybody else, but from the guests that we've had on, I've been helped. I have been encouraged. I have been uplifted in doing what I'm doing as an entrepreneur myself. So there's some valuable information that these women that are coming on, that are sharing, they have stories to tell. It is amazing. And I would not want to miss this. So make sure that you share. Soon there will be a QR code that comes up on the screen. We need you to get your phone, your camera out and scan that QR code. What does that do? That will now get you subscribed to the Hop series. What does that get you? That means that when we're on live, when we have events, whatever else we have going on, you will be able to be in the know. And you want to be in the know. You don't want to be left behind, because this series going to take off. It already has, and a lot of people are raving about it, but there's more that don't know about it just yet. So it is up to you and me, because I share it as well, If y'all follow me at all, you see I'm putting it up there on my Facebook page. So make sure, and Instagram, I put it on Instagram too. So make sure you scan that QR code and share this out. So this segment tonight, what are we going to talk about tonight? If I can get, hey, Morgan, you made, can you hear me? Her screen is frozen.
I
Can you hear me? Oh, and there she went. Okay, she'll be back on in a minute. So tonight, what are we going to talk about? So we thought long and hard of what we want to discuss. So as you know, there's no topic off limits. So we're going to talk about a number of things. But tonight, we're going to talk about dating with children. Because in this world today, awesome. This world today, there you don't find people that don't have kids. Like they always have kids. Hello. Okay, so this says Facebook user. I am not for sure who that is. So can you please put your name in there so I can properly address you? I want to call you by your name, but welcome. Thank you for being on. So back to tonight, we have people that we date to have kids, and some have multiple kids, some have younger kids, some have older kids, and that that goes into the dynamic of dating. So we want to kind of touch on that. Now, me as a woman, I have my own perspective because I have children, and what I do as far as dating is concerned with my kids. But I want to hear from a male's perspective because there are a lot of fathers out there who have custody of their kids, or they are very active in their kids' lives and they're trying to date. So, what does that look like? Raphael, okay. Thank you so much for joining, Raphael. Appreciate that. I'm glad you're on. You know what? If you want to join in on the conversation, you are more than welcome to do so. We can make sure you get that link. Actually, Pierce, if you can, I'm not for sure, if you want to put the link in the chat, that way those that come on, they can see it. And if they just want to pop in and out. So listen, we want this to be, and Morgan screen. Can you hear me, Morgan? Oh, she cannot hear me. If you want to come in and just have a conversation, if you want to come in and just join us and say what you have to say, put your little 2 cents in, maybe ask some questions, then you are welcome to do so. The host, Peach, has just put the link in the chat there so you can join in. No pressure. Y'all know how we do it every single week. Very laid back, very calm. You know, it's no pressure. No, it's not like that. It's not scripted. Like, I don't have a piece of paper with questions here. We're just going to have a discussion. I think it flows better that way. What do you think? So we already have one guest now. This panelist that we have coming on is a friend of mine, and I call him my friend because even though we have not met in person, we talk a lot, and he has an amazing anointing on his life, and he is a very skilled and talented man. And we're gonna bring him on, John Michael Massey. Did you get it, Mike? We call him Mike. Some people call him John. We call him Mike. Mike says, "How do I get?" Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes,
I can't hear nothing. So how do I get sound?
you have.
Okay,
Oh, I
let's
want to
see
see your
here.
last.
Face up.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Nah,
Oh,
all right.
hey, Mike, how are you?
Okay. This was.
Tell
Oh,
tell me how you really doing, Mike. Tell me how you really doing, because
how
you're
am I
looking a
really
little
doing?
nervous.
Look, I didn't. I thought it was tomorrow.
Okay, we're gonna have a conversation about that later. You know, Tuesdays. I'm gonna need you to follow just a little bit closer.
So,
It's all good. It's
and then
all
look,
good.
now, now I got to get some juice because I'm about to go dead.
Oh my goodness, you weren't prepared for me at all. Have mercy. Hey Morgan, I see you on here. Can
hey,
you
I can hear you. I see myself frozen. Can you hear me?
yes, you Yes, I can hear you. I'm so happy that you're on here. I know you are in a very different situation there. So it's all good as long as you can hear me and I can hear you. That's all good.
Exactly.
So,
Audio it.
so before we get started in this segment, I want to see how you doing, Morgan. How things going?
Things are good. They're going.
Yes,
There's
at least they're moving and it's not stagnant. That's a good thing, right? We never want to be stagnant.
That's right. That's right. Growth.
Yeah.
Growth always. So
Absolutely. So today our segment is He Said, She Said. So we have Mike, who is our first panelist on here, and we have the link up if anyone else wants to join in to discuss this topic of dating with children. I would
Ooh.
love to hear a different perspective. So, so I'll go first and get my little 2 cents in. Then, Mike, I want to hear it from you because you're in the dating scene. So you can give a perspective from the male side of it. So for me, this is how I do. This is how I operate. Nobody, now you, number one, they will know that I have children. I don't hide that at all. But you won't get to see my kids, interact with my kids, be around my kids at all until I know that this is something viable and it's looking like it's going to last. Now, has that backfired on me? Absolutely, because there were a couple that I thought were going to last and they didn't. But it is what it is. I waited though. I waited. It did now for me as far as dating a man that has children, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all, as long as they have a good relationship with the mother. Now, if there's a good relationship with the mother and they have an understanding and everything, I'm not going to get into that and mess that up because I'm not trying to come in to disrupt it. However, I do want, and you don't need to introduce me to your kids right away. I don't need that because right now I'm just trying to get to know you because I build bonds really easily. And I don't want to build a bond and then things don't work out with me and you. And then here I am, the poor child has, separation anxiety because they've seen me all the time. So that's what I do. I don't have a problem with kids. Now, there is a little side piece to that. If you have a whole lot of kids, then I might have to pause on that one because that might be an issue. Like, why do you have so many kids? Why? So that's just so. Mike, give me what your perspective there.
Well, I don't pretty much have a perspective on the dating side because one, you're only dating,
Mm,
uh, and we talked about dating on the line, and we understand that dating is just simply gathering
ah!
information. We're just gathering information about the person.
mm-hmm,
So if I'm only gathering information, you're not going to introduce the kids at no time soon
mm-hmm.
because you're just trying to get to know the person.
Right,
And getting to know the person just by itself takes time.
of course.
So when you bring the kids into it, by that time it should be in relationship stage.
Mm,
Into bringing kids in somebody who I'm just dating. Now, on the flip side, if it's a man and you meet a woman and she introduces you to her kids, then and you're just dating, uh, you have to know where your role is
mm,
because many men want to come in and try to dominate.
yeah.
You want to come in and try to dominate, take the charge. Oh, I'm the man. Or say, for instance, they living together, or they end up living together while they're dating, and he comes with this mindset: I'm the breadwinner. I'm making all this money. I'm go eat first. No, no, you came into her house
Mm,
and with her kids. There ought to be some kind of humility about you that says no. The kids come first because Remember, when you start talking to her, that was a package deal.
Right.
So you can't come in with your agenda and override what's already been established already in the home. You can't do that.
Right. I think a strong, mature man who understands that would not even put themselves in a situation to move in with her, knowing that, like, you got to have that standard. And number one, you not moving in with me and we dating. Like, I don't know you like that. And even after we've crossed over into relationship status, you still not moving in with me, and I'm not moving in with you, because relationships can end, and I've experienced that. So there will be no living together. But understanding
Well,
that.
unfortunately, we live in a different day and time, and
Yeah,
that's what people do.
yeah, that is. I would not do that early on. That wouldn't be, in the first couple of months, here we moving in together. No, 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 no. Because then the next thing you know, you gotta split back up, because you realize they are not who you thought they were or who you want to be with. So I'm not getting ready to go through that. So
And now they have certain information and all this stuff and access to your kids and where your kids be and what time they go to school and what time they get
yeah.
out of school. So now you done gave them all this access
Yeah, yeah, that's not
that they
good.
don't supposed to have.
Right, right. And living in this world we do, where people they're crazy. They just do some weird stuff. You definitely don't want your kids involved in that, and to subject them to it. So we have to, men and women have to be careful, because not only are there men out there that could potentially do something, there's some women with some really wicked minds, I'm finding out. So they could do just as bad, um, as the men can do. So Morgan,
Yes.
what is your perspective on it? Because you're married now, but you were in that situation of having a child and dating. So talk to me about that.
Um, I I can only speak from, I guess, the
Mm.
place that I was. I think a lot of single parents, especially women who are single parents, the majority of us didn't choose to be in that predicament. We ended up in that situation because we thought that there was longevity, or we thought that the marriage was going to end up lasting. And so now, boom, as a result, you've got children, and now, boom, that, like you were saying, relationships are just, are done. Um,
Right.
when I first decided to end my relationship and then be open again to dating, I remember thinking that no one was going to want me because I had a kid.
Mm,
And that was specifically because all of the men that I was attracted to and that I knew were on the same level that I was, um, they don't want women with kids.
wow.
I used to hear constantly that a woman with a child will always have some kind of sexual bond, or, I guess some kind of something that just doesn't go away when it comes to the ex. And that used to always bother me because I have a very amicable relationship with my ex. But if you're insecure, I could understand how you would feel some type of way. Why? Because we're not calling each other names. We're not mad at each other. If something doesn't work out, I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. What about this? Or, I tend
Mhm.
to, I guess bend a little bit, be a little bit flexible. But at the end of the day, I see that my flexibility has everything to do with my child. I've taken the adults, my feelings about the dissolution of the relationship, all of that out. And the reality is we're only having a conversation about what is best for the child. And
Right.
that is something that I have found over the years to kind of be it's tough. We blended, my husband and I, we blended a family. He came to the table with one, I came to the table with one, and now we have one together. So I was like, that was hard as well, because then I had to deal with his son's mom.
Mm,
And and not everybody's situation is always favorable or amicable from the beginning.
Right.
So it was hard for me on the dating end of things to watch my husband's, well, at the time, my boyfriend, my fiance, like his demeanor and everything be changed, due to whatever is going on. The moment he was like, okay, for real, like we're done, this ship has passed and now I'm in a new relationship, that started a whole, time of now whether or not you're going to get your child, or, do we have to go in for visitation, like all of these things that could have, that can be worked out. So it's there's a lot of facets to it, and you have
Right.
to know what you're getting into if you decide to date someone with a kid. There are
Yeah.
pertinent questions that I feel like you need to ask before you really get involved with someone with a child, and especially a woman with a child. I mean, I know some amazing, when I say amazing, single fathers. Oh my goodness. I know a couple who literally the moms just get the kids on the weekends.
Mm.
They are working full-time jobs. They're, they're doing all types of stuff. But, when you're dating that single parent, the reality is you do come second. You come second until you actually get married.
There you go.
That's real. You come second until you get married. And if you can't understand what your position is, if you can't understand the part that you play, and you can't take your ego out of it to be like, well, why can't she or why can't he? Because it's not about you.
Right.
Why don't you figure out how you could either be able to lessen what's on their plate? Because remember, you're playing a lot of different roles as a single parent. So if you can take some things off the plate, if you really want her to go out on a date with you, or you really want him to go out on a date with him, get him comfortable or her comfortable enough with a possible babysitter, where now it's like, hey, look, I know this is last minute. I want it to be a little spontaneous. I booked a babysitter for tonight. What do you think about going out to dinner for just a little bit? Because everything is about time. We don't
Right.
have a whole lot of time for things too. So, like those little things there, one, shows that you were thinking of me. Two, you didn't just willy nilly, because I'm not the person. I'm not the person you can get a babysitter for. Um, so that was a nice suggestion for some folks. I'm not that person. I don't just trust anybody with my kids, but that
Right.
is still a suggestion in general of, some ways that you can be able to, get in there and still be able to get some time and not quote unquote feel neglected, or, feeling like you're second fiddle, if that, ends up being an issue. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Just like I say, marriage is not for the faint of heart. Dating with children is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
And especially if both of y'all are coming to the table with stuff, because you're dealing not just with, the partner that you're choosing, but you have to deal with their other partner. You got to deal with the kid. I remember in my early 20s, I refused to date anybody with a child. And my number one reason was I didn't want to feel some type of way when I told a child what to do and they looked at me and they say, I'm not your mama, or you're not my mom. That
Right.
that was my biggest thing. I was like, you're not gonna catch me in that predicament where you get to say something crazy like that. Like, I'm just, again, I'm not the one.
Something rise up in you like, what did you say?
Yeah, exactly. Because the crazy thing is, I'm only saying something because I care. If I didn't, I'd keep my mouth shut. Like, you can go
Right.
ahead and go play in traffic if you want to. I'll keep my mouth shut about the Mack truck. Like, if that's what you really want. But
Yeah.
like, you know, you don't want to do that to a child.
Right.
When you
Right.
understand at the end of the day that it's so much more than that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People don't realize what happens when you do that break. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How exactly does that child take care of it? What exactly is the other person saying to the child? Because you sometimes have that. You've got, one end just saying real negative things. And so then it's hard to be able to have, an amicable or even nice environment. So the kid is just going to give out what they're receiving, or the environment that, is around them at the time. So,
Right.
yeah, I
Right.
would say be careful,
Yeah.
be
Absolutely. Mike.
intentional.
Yeah. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Um, I mean, I agree a lot with what she's saying. Uh, my question would be when you're dating and there are two men involved. In other words, you have the new person in, and you have the ex,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the child in the middle. And say, just for instance, y'all going out on a date,
Mm-hmm.
but the ex want to have something to say.
Yeah.
They
How do
they
Yeah,
they
you
have
don't
but
get.
but if there's some type of joint custody, or if he's living close by, how do you handle that situation?
For me, this is what I would do. Number one, I would make it very clear to the ex that he is an ex and that our relationship would be to co parent. And I've actually had to do that, so I can speak from experience. So I will, at some point in time, I will start dating. If you have an issue, I'm not going to, number one, bring this person around my child or my children until I feel comfortable enough to do so. So he wouldn't have anything to say. You just be talking to the air because you're not going to stop me. Now, if you want to well, it wouldn't be babysitting because it's your kid, but if you
Mhm.
want to keep your child while I go out, because you may not want your child around this person, which I wouldn't do anyway, then hey, you're more than welcome to do it because this is your child. But what you're not going to do is dictate what I do in my house. So I had my one of my children's fathers thought that he and I were going to be together and all of this. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. So then every time I would talk to him, he's asking me questions about, you got a man, you dating somebody. None of your business if I am. None of your business. So I keep that part separate. There has to be an understanding on that end. Now, if we've gotten to the point of we're engaged and we're going to get married, when we get to that point and I see that it's about to be something permanent, then there needs to be a conversation between the two men. This is who this is. This is the father. I want you to, not saying that you two have to be the best of friends. I'm not looking for that. But there has to be an understanding. Yes, you are my child's father, but he's also going to be in the household as well. So the two of y'all need to get along, at least be cordial.
Absolutely.
There has to be an understanding. And I think some women, and I'm going, get on the women, some women like to play both sides.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to either one because what happens is the child potentially sees all of this stuff going on. And what is that portraying to them? What are they saying about that? How does that make them feel? You got all this going on, they don't know what to do. So I'm not one of those people. I'm gonna end it over here, and we gotta understand, and this is how it is before I move forward.
So
That's
when you get to that stage, who are you allowing to raise the kid? The ex or the new one?
I want the ex because he is the biological father. The new one, who would eventually be my husband, has a say so because you're going to be living in the same household. So he's going to be the head of the household. So there is going to be respect given and there's going to be obedience on the child's part on that end because you're living in that household. But ultimately, it can be a co-parenting thing. Definitely the father, the biological father. Yes, I want you to have number one role, but we're not going to neglect my new husband because he's not
Yeah.
the no. This
Well,
is
I
his
understand that. I say
yeah.
that because some men have trouble with another man telling their child what to do.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say that because we had this whole conversation, especially like I said, when we were blending families.
Mm.
Um, so my ex and I had a conversation when we were splitting, and the deal was that neither one of us brought anyone around, the child until the other person met that, the dating
Mm.
partner. So And that was like, so it wasn't even about the child, it was also still an accountability. Like I have this thing that I say with my, to my oldest, about his dad. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I still have to answer to your dad. Yes, I'm the primary parent, but you know what I mean, we are two people who I don't make any moves about my son without his father's permission, his knowledge, his anything. That's just for me out of sheer respect. I would want the same
Right.
thing if he was the primary parent. So, I'm going to just give what I would want in the end. But
Right.
there were certain boundaries that we had, and some things.
Did she go out? Morgan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think her sound went out.
I
Corey
feel
said it takes a village if at all possible. Absolutely. My great
yeah.
grandmother taught me years ago that many hands make light work. And that's just not physical work, but as far as raising kids and carrying a household, many hands make light work. Even when it was just me and my kids, and we with the cleaning of the house, all of us work together. We get the house clean, and we can spend the rest of the afternoon doing what we want to, as opposed to one person doing it. So I'm all for the village. I really am. I need the village to help me. But
The
my kids
village is
are,
the whole neighborhood.
yeah, yeah. My kids are all, I only have the one 8-year old now. The rest of them grown, so I don't really have to worry about that anymore. I think it's really important to know. One thing that you said, Mike, was about the different stages. So you're dating, you're getting information, you're getting data.
Mhm.
So that's the primary focus for the male or the man or the woman. Here,
Right.
we're just getting to know each other. Then I'll see if you're going to be someone that I may want to introduce to my kids. But right off, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Morgan, you back on?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
back. Yeah, so I was just saying, pretty much like you were saying, we took that time to really, you got to get to know that other person, and then if you feel like this person is really worth it, so then yeah, bring her to me. I want to be able to meet her. I want to be able to have conversation about certain things, because at the end of the day, my child is going to be with you and or around you. So I want to make sure that you're on the same page that his father and I are on. Because
yeah,
you were not in this original equation, and that's totally fine. But you need to get on board with what we have going on. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are responsible for this child. That at no point in time is that taking away from that other party. That doesn't take away from my husband. That doesn't take away from his wife. But at the same time, it's like, listen, my husband has something to say. He lets me know. Morgan, this is what I think, should be going on with Josiah. Okay, cool. I then take that to my ex. My husband and I were talking. This is what we're seeing. This is what we feel is best, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about it? His yay or nay is what I end up going by at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because that is the parent. That doesn't crap on my husband at all or make his opinion irrelevant. But at the end of the day, he is an extra or a bonus added person to my child's life.
hmm,
As far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, God is not going to stand here at the gate and be holding him accountable for the decisions that he made. He's going to hold him accountable for how he treated my child. But at the
mm,
end of the day, my ex and I, because that's who God gave the child to, we're the ones who's going to be responsible. So we're the ones who should be making that and all be all, decision. And it's hard because, like, I don't necessarily agree with all the decisions that my husband and his ex make when it comes to my bonus boy. I don't. But that's me. I tell
yeah,
him why I don't agree with it. I tell him what I think and why I think, this should be a better idea than what they are doing. But at the end of the day, I have to respect what they choose, and then I just, pray over him and keep it pushing. If it's something like I feel like, might end up being, too much of an issue. But you got to take the control out of it. You got to take the ego out of it, because it really, again, it's not about you. The only thing that's about you is the relationship that you're trying to build with that other person. You know,
right.
and once it comes to all of that extra, that's what, like you said, makes that noise, makes
Right.
those problems with the kids unnecessarily.
I'm glad you said that because that was going to be my question. What do you do when what you two have discussed and you see in the household and you think is the best option and you go take it to his father and
Hmm.
he says no and he just says no to everything and you go with that? How does that make the other parent feel? But you answered it. You said, I don't agree with it, and you gave the reason why, and then you just have to move forward because at the end of the day, that's what it was. So Pierce is asking, what if the child is a teenager? Would the same rules apply? What do you say, Mike?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yes. Because I was going to ask the question, just like we do in dating,
Hmm.
should we not see that person in all four seasons
Hmm.
Mm,
before even opening up the door to anything?
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
once we see that person in all four seasons,
Absolutely. And I think with older children too, you can get a lot more. Like my son, he's not a teen, well, he'll be a teenager in a couple of weeks, but he has always been a lot more mature than his age. So before I got married, I asked him what he thought about my husband. I asked him what he thought about how he treated him. I asked him like on a personal level. It had nothing to do with mom, but I wanted to know what you thought of this man. I wanted to know if you thought that this was a good idea. Now, granted, did his opinion hold weight? I heard it. Does that mean that, if he was over here? Because, like I said, sometimes kids can feel some type of way like, nah, I really want, I'm not going to lie, my oldest definitely tried to parent trap us a couple of times. Like, it happens. It happens because, who doesn't want that stereotypical or that traditional, mom, dad, child in the household? But I
Mm-hmm.
think, too, that teenagers are able to understand certain things a little bit more, and so if you were honest and open with your child and kind of just, let them know what exactly it is, you'd be surprised at the insight that they can give or even the things that they see that you didn't.
Yeah.
Don't be mad if they call you out on, your behavior and they're like, really though? Like I've had my son one time look at me and he was like, Mom, but you would really want to be around people who thought that of you?
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because for me, I'd be like, I don't care. You can think whatever you want to. But then he was just like, but would you would put yourself in that position where you already know that somebody is thinking that of you? Or he was just like, you know what? If that's how they're going to act, then I wouldn't care whether or not they showed up somewhere. Like
Mhm.
we can have those different kind of conversations, which is, like I said, that's insight, that's untainted from
Yeah.
all the other things as adults that we get. So I say bring them in. The older that they are, the more you bring them in. I think you were talking about like your oldest, if you start dating again, heck yeah. April, like let somebody really come through the door and you get excited about it. I would expect you to hit your daughter up like, yo, listen, tell me what you think. You know what I mean? The same as she would be calling you, going, hey, mom, look at this apartment. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
okay.
Well, I know Ariel, she's 8, and she's made it very clear that she did not want me to get married again. And I'm like, why? And her thing was that he could have kids and she didn't want to have any more siblings. I said, why? I said, she said, because I already have siblings. I said, oh my God. I said, Ariel, these would be bonus family members. So just chill because mommy's going to get married. You better just suck that up. So
She
She's
said,
not
Mama's
ready to
not getting
share
none
yet.
with no kids.
She's not ready to share yet.
She apparently not, but she's been that way. She's spoiled rotten. So I'm not listening to Ariel. She'll be fine. She talks, but she don't really mean that. Because I see how she is with people. So she's yeah.
The spoiled part come from mom.
Well, yeah, partially. I'll take partial credit for that. Yes, I will. But I'm not the only one that spoiled her. So um I think I can't speak on the teenage part because my son is 17, but he is so laid back and just nonchalant, but he's very observant. So he's a lot like me. He won't say much. So the last guy that I did date, he met him, and I value my son's opinion because he's the only male in the household, with all us women. And I asked him what he thought about him. He said he's cool, kind of corny, but he's cool, and he didn't have any issues with it. So, he's gonna give me the real and raw about it. But now, my son's getting ready to go to college. That's all he's focused on. He still wants to make sure that I'm okay. There was an incident that took place with me and his father that kind of got a little physical, and he was livid. Like, if he had been old enough to really do something, he would have done something. So I saw then just how protective he is of me, and he wants to make sure I'm happy. And that's what he told me. I just want to make sure you're happy, and that I will be. Hey, Stacy, so glad you were able to join us. So I want to add this in here. So Mike he is the facilitator of relationship talk. It is a conference call that's held every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Mike has been, and I don't know how long you've been doing it because I just joined on maybe a couple of months ago. A couple months ago. But there are a series of topics that we discuss on there. It is really good. It's laid back. It's a safe space. So, Mike, you want to talk about your relationship call a little bit more?
Okay. Well, the relationship talk line is basically dealing with dating. It's dealing with relationships that's leading up to marriage. What we do, we go in, we explore different topics. Uh, the key is to learn about where you are as a person, the mistakes that we've made in dating, the things that we can correct. Uh, Most of the time, we try to blame the other person when things go wrong in a relationship. But the truth of the matter is, we always have to go back and look at self because it's
Mhm.
usually something with us. Quickly, we always try to pass judgment on the other person, but it's always good to go back and look at self and see where we went wrong, where we need to improve, what can we improve in.
Mhm.
Are we including God in our choices? Uh, I know for a long time I definitely wasn't doing that, and we just find out the things that we're doing wrong, and we're helping each other. We're sharing wisdom. We're sharing knowledge. It's a non-judge free zone place. Nobody's going to judge you while you're in there. Nobody's going to talk about you. Nobody's going to down you in any kind of way. It's a place of love. I'm gonna make sure of that because I'm over the line. And you just come in, enjoy yourself, and be you. You can come in and listen. We prefer you to come in and listen and talk and participate. But you come in and listen. We're just talking about different things, dating. This past week we dealt with online dating, the pros and cons of online dating, how people get scammed on online dating, things we can look for on online dating. I mean, what happens after you look after you look at the profile? What's next?
Right.
So it's various topics. I don't know what this week's topic is gonna be. God ain't gave it to me yet. But look, come on and join us every Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Yep. And you go to John Michael Massey's Facebook page, and the phone number is on there. Mike, you know it by heart.
The phone number is 848.
Oh, never mind. Stacy just put it in there in the chat.
All right,
Look
Stacy.
at
Well,
Stacy.
thank you, Stacy.
Go,
She done.
Stacy. So there is the number there, 848-220-3300. Access code is 44743, and you got to press the pound sign afterwards, and you
Yeah,
can come in. It's a good
good
relationship
discussion.
call. It really is. It's some good. I've learned a lot. I've gotten a lot, and I get on there, and I'm my usual crazy self. So I'll get on there with some stuff. So, you know,
Yeah, I'll aggravate you every now and then, like I did April.
yeah, yes, he did. Last weekend was no, not last weekend. It was the weekend before that. He played devil's advocate, and I was driving in the car, and I was just like, I was on mute, but I was like, oh my God. So I get off mute. I'm like, Mike, who hurt you? Like, what happened? But he was trying to pull that out to get more conversation. So, he does that, but
Yeah,
it's good. It's a
I
really good
played
call.
devil's advocate that day.
You did. And you played it well. You played it well. So Mike,
Because it's important that women know how men think.
yes, and that's why we do this he said, she said segment because
Yeah,
we don't know it all. Contrary to what some women may believe, we
right.
don't. Because men are not as vocal as we are. So, and I don't want to try to figure it out. Like, I want to know, give me the scoop, give me the insight. So if I see a certain behavior, if I see something that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I learned about that. So then I know how to respond accordingly, and I'm not acting crazy, trying to figure out why. Now I'm not like this, but there are some. Why you not talking? Why you not saying nothing? You don't want to talk to me. I don't want to go there. No, I don't want that. So I want to understand what's going on, and it's good to hear it from the men because
Yeah.
y'all got some wisdom. Y'all, that's who else are we gonna hear from?
I mean, if we don't share what we know, then we ain't helping nobody.
Right, right.
Especially when you done the dirt, you might as well go ahead and tell it now.
Right. Might as well share it. Like last week,
Yeah,
we were talking about being scammed. I'm like, yeah, I had a guy scam me for like, I don't know, 3 months. And then when I finally figured it out, I'm like,
yeah,
bruh, is this what we doing?
that's it.
Really? But people do that. So, we have to have a conversation to know and to have that. And I think too, we probably need to have a talk about children on there as well, because I don't know, I might be the only one, but younger ones, everybody else's kids are grown. I got one little one, but just to have that extra insight on what other people have done,
Yeah,
because that's a touchy subject. That's serious when you have kids involved, when you're trying
it
to date
is.
and you're still trying to be the parent to the child and give them the time and the attention that they need. And then you're also trying to invest and put time in that. Thankfully, I only have the one little one.
Yeah,
So, she
and it's
gets it.
it's, it's like the person asked earlier. What if they're a teenager? When you dealing with a teenager, it's a whole nother game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was married to uh, a lady. She had 3 kids,
Oh,
but they
wow.
were all teenagers.
Oh,
And,
my.
and, and until this day, I call them the 3 kids from hell because I
And they
mean,
all live with y'all, right?
yes, I mean that was tough. That
Wow.
was tough.
So, how
And
was it
it's
when
like
you were
it's like
dating?
you talked about. They were that close knit family.
Mm,
They had that unbreakable bond,
okay.
and she believed everything they said because they all
Oh,
they all came up together. I mean, they were just in it together.
mm-hmm.
And
That's another
I
big
had never
topic
seen
there.
3 kids that bad in my life because I wasn't raised around none of the stuff that they did.
Oh, okay.
So when
How
I
did
saw it,
you?
it was all new to me. I was like, "What in the world?" I had
Wow.
never heard a teenager cuss their mom out. Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. No, that wouldn't be. And still keep their
Yeah,
teeth
bro.
and
Man,
still
we would
remain
have done something
conscious.
like that young. Been in the graveyard.
Oh, no. I could just
What?
feel the
Cuss,
backhand, and I never
cuss your
did that.
mama out? Oh no,
Wow.
no,
So look,
no.
actually, question for you, Mike. So how did you deal with that? Because I know, like, that's not necessarily an ego thing, but that's really like, listen, I'm trying to come in here, I'm trying to add to what's going on. How do you keep how do you keep, I guess, your peace and keep your your mind straight when it seems like, yes, the kids are really out to get you. It seems like, the mom is hell-bent on misunderstanding or not necessarily, believing the situation. There's some moms you can't tell them about their kids. They think their kids are
Hmm.
angels regardless. So how do you navigate that? Because I know that that's definitely something that goes on a lot.
Well, it's just like you said. Some people, their kids, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do or what you say, the mom is going to believe them regardless. I found myself in a competition.
Mm.
Mm,
It ended up being a competition between me and the kids, and I had to sit back and look. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what I do because whatever I do, they can come right in the house and go, "Mama, Mike did this, Mike did that," and she automatically believes it. No
mm,
investigation, no questions asked, because those were her kids and they had that type of bond.
wow.
Now, is that a relationship that you would suggest that somebody stay in, or try to work it out? Because there's some people that are like, oh well, oh, the kids are like
Unless
15
you
years
go into
old. They only got
therapy.
3 more years. They'll be out the house. Like,
If unless she's willing and open to go to therapy,
Mm,
because right then there's a non-win situation,
yeah.
and it to this day it's the same way, and that's been for me. That's been over 30 years.
Wow. That's so unfair and puts you in a really tough place to be accused. And you've already married this person and to be accused. So I want to know what took place, how was it when you were in the dating phase before you decided to get married? Like,
Well,
were they just putting up a front then?
it's consequences. This is what happens when you do stuff and don't involve the Lord.
Hey, poster child for that.
Yeah. This is what happens when you do stuff and you don't
Right.
involve God. And me at that time, I called myself repaying God back. That was my mindset
Mm,
because I was just learning. So I thought I could repay God back for something he done for me. And I said, okay, I'll take care of this woman
and
because
these
she's been
bad kids.
abused. She's been abused. She's People have taken advantage of her, run over. So I made her a promise. I said, nobody will never run over you and take advantage of you again. And I married her off of that, not off of love,
Mm.
off of what she had been through.
Not knowing that her kids were the main culprits of taking advantage of her.
Well, it was her ex that had put her through. I mean, everything had to beat her and beat her and beat her. And I
Mm.
said, that'll never happen to you again.
Wow. So did you meet the kids while you two were dating? Or was this like a quick
I,
process
I
to get married?
I met them, but they didn't come off. They can't. They didn't come off that bad. They came
Mm.
off bad, but I just didn't know it was that bad.
But you were more focused on her and what you
Her,
were going to do for
yeah,
her.
yeah.
And did you ever say anything to her about the kids and what you noticed with their behavior?
Not that I recall.
Mm.
Not that
Is
I.
that something that we should do when we're in the dating phase? If we get to that point to where we are introduced to the children and we see something, is that something that we can talk
Uh,
to them about? Are we within rights to say something, or should we just keep our mouths shut?
no, don't keep your mouth shut. No, please don't. Please don't. Ask questions. Is this normal that your child act this way?
Yeah,
Is this normal? Is this
because
what
that
you go
could be a
through every?
shown up deal breaker. Like,
I'm telling you.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I mean, if you actually just hear a teenager cussing out their mom,
yeah. If they have no respect for her, then they clearly won't have any respect for you.
zero.
So that's a
Even
red
though
flag.
I reached and grabbed him by the chest and grabbed him by the collar, that didn't phase them.
Oh no. Mm-mm. I'm not getting ready to be in the house and walking on eggshells or worry about what's getting ready to go on. Now I'm not being ready to do that. Oh, Morgan there were connection issues. Well, you can co-host from the chat. Yes, respect is key. It is definitely key. You want respect from me, you have to give it. And understanding when we get to that point to where we're going to get married or we're in a full-fledged relationship, then I as the mother am going to sit the children down. First, I'm going to have a conversation with them, Jess or her or whomever, just us. And then we're going to have a conversation with my significant other to let them know there will be respect given. You will be cordial. You will do what you're supposed to do. You will not talk crazy because if I hear you, I'm coming. And it could be anybody. You know, if I had a girlfriend or whomever come over and you're talking crazy to one of my friends, then I'm gonna get you the same way as if even if it was somebody that I was dating. You know, when we're dating, yeah, it's gonna be some time before you see you see them like I don't know you. No, no.
Steven Seagal made a movie called Above the Law.
Mm.
Children are not above the belt.
So just so y'all know, Mike is in Gastonia, North Carolina. So you know how it was done down south. I grew up in
They
Georgia, so
are
I'm
not
very
above the
aware.
belt.
There has to be an understanding because I believe if she had talked to them or well, it seemed like they were already out of control. So they should have been taken care of a long time ago. I don't know. They was in teenage stage. There'd be fighting moments there, but however. So Morgan says, how do you deal with intimacy with children?
Keep them out of the house.
You gotta strategically plan that.
Look, if they're teenagers, y'all already said it. They observers and they listen.
Yeah. I don't even want to touch that. I don't even want to touch it. Oh my goodness.
They observers and they listen.
Yeah. Yeah. So Morgan, are
So
you talking about
if you get that question from your son or your daughter, tell my mama, what was that noise last night? Don't try to get all sanctified on them then.
oh wow. Hey, this is what I say, strategic planning. You got to know what you can do, when you can do it, and where you can do it. You can't. Now, I'm all about public displays of affection, holding hands, hugging, kiss, and stuff like that. But all that extra stuff, yeah, I got to think about that one.
All that extracurricular activity.
Yeah, all that extra. Because I've been kind of, caught with that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I can't. And I was straight up embarrassed, like, wow, okay,
Because
yeah, I don't want that to happen.
what your children see you do, they go do.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 We got to draw the line somewhere. Stacey said, get a good mattress. Stacey.
Mattress, headboard.
Oh my God. I can't.
Anything that don't make no noise.
I don't think they make that. You just have to get on the floor.
The floor don't make noise.
Oh my God, I can't. Okay.
Oh Lord, who's on that car meeting?
Car meetings, Morgan. Really? Car meetings?
Car meeting? That's heavy.
Well, you definitely have to have an understanding about how things are going to be and discuss that. Do you think there's a certain stage or certain time limit before there's an introduction for kids with someone that you're dating? So let's just say, yeah. What do you think about that?
I believe I believe we should stick with that 4 seasons.
So that could be that's a whole year.
That's right.
So you're
especially when you have a child involved.
So you're saying date someone for an entire year before they are around your kids.
unless you're like the older people. The older people say, "Well, I know in my knower, I just know that I know." If you just
Mm-hmm.
really know,
Yeah.
because I tell you what, if you tell a man that up front, you will see how fast he either go stay around or leave. I mean,
If you have
yeah,
kids.
yeah. If you
Oh.
tell him that, well, I've got kids, but I'm not going to introduce you to them for at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
If he runs, that says something.
Oh. Okay.
That says something.
Huh. Interesting. Never thought about that. Never even considered that.
Well, think about it. They do the same thing when you say I'm celibate. You celibate. You
Yeah.
what? And
That
then all of a sudden,
great
phone
facts.
calls stop. Everything stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an experience with that with a guy who was so excited about meeting me and he thought we would, hit it off well, and then he went into something else to let me know what his purpose and goal was. I was like, whoa, pump your brakes. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm trying to do. He was like, oh, I've been out on the road for however many months he was out there. I said, well, I wish you well in finding someone to do that for you. But yeah, that won't be me. Yeah. And it was like here today, gone today. So I'm good. So let's see. Morgan said her former pastor did a teaching that said people don't stop putting up a facade until year 7. Oh no, I want to show you the real from day one. I gotta
Really?
be. Do you know how hard it is to put
7?
up a front? Woo!
They good.
They are good.
I
And then
can't. I can't even do it for an hour.
because after year 7 and you start switching up, then it's like, who are you and where'd you come from?
That's
Yeah.
why I be like, look, at our age, when you get in your 50s, it's like, go ahead and tell me the bad stuff and let me go. Cause see now we're not. We at a point where you don't have time to waste time.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and tell me the bad stuff,
Right.
and then let me see if I'm able to deal with it.
Yeah.
If I'm able to
I
deal with it, then we can start talking.
And that's good because I'm at the stage now where I don't, yeah, Peach, a professional liar. I agree. I'm at the stage now, and I'm not in my 50s, but I'm at the stage where I don't want to waste any more time. I've done that.
Yeah,
So I'm going to tell you up front, look, this is what I'm looking for. This is the end goal.
yeah,
I'm dating with a purpose. So I'm not saying we get married tomorrow, but I'm trying to see, I want to date to see if you are a possible candidate and if it can go that way. So if you are just looking to have fun and just chill and kick it, then I'm probably not your person because I just
that's right.
can't. I don't want to go through that continual cycle. So yeah, I'm like you. Can you just tell me right now what you want? That way we can make, I
And
can make
yeah,
a decision.
and for
What's
a
going
lot of
on in your
people,
life? You got baby mama drama. You got
that's it.
warrant. You don't got. You don't have a job. What's going on? Tell me now so I can say, you know what? I wish you well, and I'm real respectful with it. I wish you well, but you might not be the one. So Morgan
That's
said
hard.
yes.
That's hard for some people.
Yeah, yeah. She said, yes, people want you to believe the best of them. And because many are still learning to be their authentic selves, it takes some time to see those seasons Mike talks about. Absolutely. That's why they need to go through some workshops and trainings that will help them. You know what I'm saying? So help them to be their authentic self. So
Yeah,
who I am now, or you're getting the real April. You're not getting the one I want you to see, and then I come out of another bag with something else. No, I'm not doing that.
there is nothing wrong with say, hey, this is what I used to be. This was me, and
Mm,
run down the list.
mm-hmm.
But now this is who I am.
Yeah, yeah. Growth is
Now you get all that stuff out of the way, and the person can sit there and go, well, you know what? They told me the truth up front.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, Courtney. Oh, you made it on. Hey, baby girl, I love you. Yeah. Spear said 7 years is way too long. If we're not married by year 4, I'm out. Wait a minute. Well, hold up.
Year
Okay.
four,
That
year
year
four.
4 is too long for me. I will give you
1 year.
1 year. One. If we ain't talking about married or I don't have a ring after a year, you wasting my time. 4?
The
Ooh, you
word
good.
was spoken today.
Yeah.
By
Oh
the
yeah.
end of this year,
Yes, it was. It was. That it
yeah,
was.
I can't do 4
If
years.
y'all, so yeah, one, Morgan. One. I'm gonna date you and be within a relationship with you. I will give you, I'll even say a year and a half. After that year and a half, we need to, because I
Mm-mm.
believe at this point, if you spent, and we supposed to be talking about dating with kids. Now we talking about dating and get married stuff, which is fine. After a
I'll
year,
do that.
after about a year of you spending time together and getting to know one another, you've seen all 4 seasons. At least you should have at this point.
Yeah.
But by that year and a half, I'm gonna know if I want to be with you or not. And you should know. Now, Mike, tell me this. Tell me this. Now, I've heard this. I
Okay.
have heard that men know in a short amount of time
Yeah.
if the woman
We
is
do.
the one, if the one they're
Yes.
dating.
Yeah.
What is it? Can you tell me the secret sauce, or is that a male code thing you can't share?
It's not a code. A man just knows whether or not
Mm-hmm.
he wants you just to sleep with, just to hang around with,
Mm-hmm.
or someone he potentially want to marry. He
Wow.
knows that quickly. Quickly.
Mm. Wow. Courtney says we're adults and have kids. Are we doing this or not? Exactly. Like what we doing? Where's it going? Now I'm not going to be
Well,
talking about it from day
they
one, but you know from day one what I'm hoping to end,
yeah,
what I'm looking for, whether it's with him or not. Then I'm still getting ready. I want you to know up front because I'm not getting ready to waste your time. And I tell them I am so grateful for growth in me because I'm very vocal and very specific. If this is not what you want an end goal to be, then I'm not getting ready to waste your time because I have enough male friends. I'm not trying to do that.
hey,
I
when you done been through your 30s and 40s and you done hit 50, you done saw every game there is, so you know. Men
yeah,
know, women know too.
yeah.
Sometimes women just push a little hard. They be like, well, let me just see. I don't know. Let me just go out on a couple more dates. Men know the first time.
Wow. Interesting. So Morgan says, so why do men lie about intentions knowing they don't see her as marriage material?
He either want to sleep with you, see how far he can get with you, or just be your friend.
Huh.
And that friend gonna be a FWB.
And listen, I just found out I was today years old when I found out what the FWB meant because I've seen that on a couple of men's profiles, and I was like, "What does this mean?" I felt so bad, and then when I figured it out, I was like, "Oh yeah, let me X you out because that's not no." Mm-mm. Wow, what's why
They
is there?
they they men know exactly what they want. When they talking to you, they already know. They
Mm.
already know.
And if you ask them, they're probably 9 times out of 10 are going to
No.
tell you the truth. You just have to wait it out and pay attention to what's going on, right?
Pay attention to the signs.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, there's your answer, ladies. They men do
Pay
know,
pay
and they.
attention to the signs.
Oh my goodness. See, this is why I'm so exhausted with the dating scene. I really am. I'm just exhausted. It's different than it used to be, and there's so many other factors that come into play that you got to consider, like kids and being married before. Because I've been married before, and there was one guy, and I had said something about being married. He knew I was married before, but he didn't know I had been married twice. He's like, "You've been married twice?" Yes. The first time I knew I should not have married him, and I did anyway. The signs were like you couldn't get any brighter, brighter than this ring light that I have in my face, that I should not have done it. But at that time in my life, I was not mature enough
Yeah.
to stand up and say, no, I did it. I'm like, well, I got all this family coming for the wedding, and maybe he'll change. And just naive, just naive. and it only lasted 4 years. And I didn't feel bad at all. I'm like, you know what? I have 2 beautiful daughters, learning experience. I'm done with that, and let me just move on. But yeah. So Morgan said, yes, Peach, definitely still in the 2-year range. Hubby and I dated for 4 years before marrying, and we were friends for 19 years. We're still finding out things about each other. With each period of growth comes different perspectives and ways of handling things.
That's right. That's
Well,
true. That's true.
that is true, but
That is true.
year and a half. That's as far as I'm going, because you have now taken and utilized a year to year and a half of my life of me committing to you, and only for us to
And you
break
not
up.
and he's not even close to being committed.
Right.
He's saying the word committed.
I
He's
don't
using the
understand that.
word because
Why is that?
ladies,
Why
because
spend that?
y'all ask, so are you committed to me? And he go, yeah. And that's all. That's all it takes for y'all to hear that. And I love you. And
Yeah,
y'all know.
that I have
I love you.
my own experiences with that.
But I love you. Supposed to have all kind of action behind it,
Right,
not just
right,
words.
right. And and this goes for men and for women. You know, we can put up a front and we can do things, but after a while you get tired of doing that stuff if you ain't real, if you're not real with it, and then you start slacking. And that's when I'm paying attention, because
Yeah.
you're not doing it like you used to. Okay, what's going on? So I'm not gonna say anything right away. I'm gonna gather some more data, and then I'm gonna come to you. Okay, so I've been paying attention to a pattern that's been taking place. What's going on here?
If he's not doing the same things he done to get you,
Mm.
then something's wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Morgan said he needs to be.
If that stage ever stops, something's wrong
Yeah,
because that stage never supposed to stop.
and see, that's what it's
It's supposed to
so
escalate,
right.
never
So
stop.
I had that just happen to me. So I was dating a guy for 8 months, and in January we went on a trip. And I had noticed prior to the trip that, we hadn't been spending as much time together as we had been. We talked all the time. But he was a police officer, so he had worked like all these 12-hour shifts. So we go on the trip. The first 3 days was great. The last day he came out of left field with something, and I was like, "What?" And that was done. But this man had been telling me that he was in love with me, loved me. I had no idea. So I was like thrown. Like, how do you go from being in love to all of a sudden now you saying this stuff to me, and I'm in shock? Like, are you serious? Is this what this has
Yeah.
come to? Like, you clearly should have said that to me in the beginning to give me the opportunity to decide if I want to proceed forward with this or not. But the actions were showing everything was good. Everybody thought I was going to marry this man. You could not tell me. And then it just blew up. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. Morgan said he needs to be booking flights in that year too. Facts. You've got to know how your partner travels and deals with overseas or different cultures. Absolutely.
Mm, yeah,
Yes. Peach said she's from the show me state. Exactly.
that's it.
Show me.
Show me.
Show me. Well, and then too, if he definitely does not get along with my kids, that is an automatic
That's
red
that's
flag.
a no
No,
no.
we
That's
getting ready.
all the way no.
I don't care how I feel about you. We just gonna have to, because I'm not gonna be stressed out in the house trying to be referee between you and the kids. I'm not doing that. So if y'all aren't getting along, I'm sorry, this is not gonna work out. We just gonna have to leave this as it is and
I
move
don't think
forward.
no woman should ever get involved with no man if the man and the child can't get along
Yeah,
because it's only going to cause more chaos in the house.
right, right. It's a no-win situation.
No.
Yeah, that house is not going to be a place of peace. And
No,
that man's gonna stop coming home, and the next thing you know, he's cheating. The next thing you know, y'all in the divorce court. Oh no, I don't need that those kind of headaches. No, I'm not doing that anymore. So, oh wow. Well, you were it for today. Everybody else was hiding in the chat, and
that's
that's
all right.
cool. But I appreciate you coming on.
Well,
So
thank you.
now,
I enjoyed it.
see, and you were all nervous, like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
No, I was nervous because I got on right when I was like, "Oh Lord!" You sent me the link, and I was sitting here just chilling and eating.
But
And I
it
said,
worked out. It
"Yeah, it
worked out.
worked out." Yeah.
I am glad that you were able to get on our very first He Said, She Said segment. Morgan said, thanks, Mike. And being able to give
Oh,
your insight from the
thank you,
man's
Morgan.
perspective. We appreciate that because I mean, hey, I got some information, some stuff that
Well,
helped
good.
me.
Thank
So
y'all for the exposure.
yeah, so y'all don't forget about every Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the relationship call. The information is in the chat. You can definitely join in. You will not be disappointed. So jump on in there. It's not just for single people, it's for married people,
Yeah,
divorced people, widowed people, whatever. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship, you are welcome to join this call, and we stay on, we have conversation, and it's good. It is
yeah.
really good. It
I want
is.
to say one thing, April.
What's that?
We get ready to do a series called "Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts."
Wow.
So listen, it is something powerful. You really want to be involved in that. If you even contemplate no marriage in a relationship, you might even be married. It's called saving your marriage before it starts,
I like
and
that. I like it a lot.
it is awesome. So
Okay.
I'm gonna introduce that Saturday.
Okay. Are you facilitating that? You teaching that class?
Yeah, actually, we now this one is gonna be a Zoom.
Okay.
This one will be on Zoom.
Oh, okay. I am looking forward to it, and I hope that I am not in some foreign country when you get ready
Ain't
to
no
do it,
telling.
Travis.
Ain't
Oh,
no
I hope
telling.
I'm stationed there in the United States. So awesome. So next week we have another a phenomenal woman that's coming on, and she has written a I guess that's what you say. You've written a movie or done wrote script for a movie that has been they made the movie and it's showing in multiple countries. And I had the pleasure of meeting her in New Jersey, and
Okay.
she has a story to tell, and she's a sweetheart, and she's very, very gifted and talented. So we're going to have her on next week. Also, if you know any women entrepreneurs that are doing some great things and they would love to be a guest on the show, have them to either inbox myself on either Facebook or Instagram or Morgan on her page.
Okay.
We would love to have them on the show. We would love to interview them and give the perspective. I have truly been helped and blessed by the women that have been on from January up until now. I've learned some things about my health and things that I can take for my health, and just a different perspective on everything. Business, entrepreneurship, you name it, it's been here. And we have more to come. So if you know someone, do that. I want you to tag someone in this and share this show with somebody or any of our previous shows so they can see how we do things. We just have fun. We're a big family. We have fun. We're here to empower you, motivate you, encourage
Yeah.
you, and uplift you to be better than you were yesterday, to give you the push that you need to do what you want to do in your life and what you feel you're called to do, and to give you connections and resources, because the women that come on here, they have the connections and the resources. And now we have Mike, who has the connection and resource on the relationship side. So you don't want to miss out. We're giving you all of this, and all we ask is that you join us every Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You share this out. You come in and comment. The next time we have the He Said, She Said panel, I'm hoping and praying that we will have more people. I can't tell you what the topic will be because I don't know right now. Morgan and I have to discuss that. We talk about everything that we're doing on the show. We discuss it all. And I love that chick. I love her. All right. So we will see you again on next Tuesday at the same time on this same platform. And we hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend. And those of you that pray for me because I'm leaving Saturday going out of the country and I'll be gone for like 5 days and then back and then out of the country again for another 5 days. So y'all pray for your girl. So I have
We
safe
got you.
travel. I know
We
everything's
got
gonna
you.
be cool, but
We got
there's nothing better than having extra people pray. You know, those that can get the prayer through. Now, if your prayers hit the ceiling and they bounce back down, not you. I need somebody who's
That's
gonna
it.
break through the ceiling. And I meant that jokingly. I meant that jokingly. All right, so y'all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week on this same platform. Have a good one.
All right. Blessings, everybody. How do I hang it up?
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, what more do you say? Coming up. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come up now.